Okay, I'll give it a go. World Chase Tag is a sports promotion company, and we want to put on chase tag events. We want to get the best athletes from a range of different disciplines like parkour and ninja warrior and rugby and American football. So a range of different elite athletes and get them to play chase tag. And we want to make it into like a global sport and hopefully have events all over the world, chase tag events all over the world, basically. That's what we want to try and do.
Well, chase tag, my son was the one who really started it, because when he was young, we always used to play like what we call it, and he didn't really want to have a kick about the football or play cricket or anything like that. So he was always saying, let's play it, let's play it. So we decided, we were playing it in the garden one day, and then he asked me who was better. He wanted to know who was better, me or him at it. So we got a couple of iPhones, so we started to time how long each of us spent on it as we were chasing each other around the obstacles and that sort of thing. And we always thought that would make a really good sport to play. But at the time I was working, so I couldn't really do much about it. And then in between a couple of jobs, I was looking at various things, and I kept thinking of this idea, and it came back to me about the possibility of doing that as a sport. And so I was thinking about the timing system, and I was wondering if it was patentable. So I spoke to a patent lawyer, and I had a chat with him. I did some research about it, and I actually patented the timing system, and then I trademarked the name Chase Tag, and then it just all came about from that, really. The patent is kind of pointless unless you have something to do it with. So we then started to have meet-up sessions in Hyde Park, where we were just chasing, a bunch of people around the park, and then it sort of developed from there. The parkour element came in, and then more parkour athletes started to get involved. And then we started to make a slightly more complicated court, and the court just grew in complexity and size. And then we decided to put on a first event, which was in December last year. And then since then, it's sort of because we've had a lot of footage that goes around the world, people from all over the place have been contacting us and asking how they can take part and that sort of thing. To get into the sport, you just need to just chase, just wherever you can, make obstacles however you can. We have quite regular meetups, so we had one today that you saw earlier. We'll put them out on Facebook, so just look out for the dates and just join us there. It's free. We usually do winner stays on, so you don't need to be part of the team. You're just coming there to chase one-on-one, and that's it. At the moment, if they just follow us on our Facebook page, then we will post as much information as we can about how they can get involved in other parts of the world, depending on what's happening where they are. In the future, we hope to partner up with other people in other countries, either gym owners themselves or with personal trainers who would like to take classes out into the park and that sort of thing. But the best way at the moment is just coordinate it through our Facebook, World Chase Tag Facebook page, and we'll do it that way. When something goes viral, it's a really weird thing, because you don't know necessarily what you've done to make that thing go viral. It's just one of those things that if you're lucky, it happens, And with this case, we put out one video that did for us, it did very well. I think it had like 25,000 views or something like that. And then when we did the second video, and I remember Damien put it out, and I actually thought he put it out too soon after the first one. And then when that started to just explode, we didn't really know what we had done, and we thought it was obviously very exciting, but it was something without arrogant isn't necessarily the right word, but I always thought that it had the potential to be something that a lot of people all over the world would be interested in, simply because everyone has played chase tag, albeit under a different name. So everyone has an interest in it naturally, because everybody did it when they were a kid, right?
Yeah. And we didn't know as well. We always thought it was inevitable that someone was going to have a video that does well doing it, but we were just surprised that it was kind of, at that time, it was kind of us. Do you know what I mean? And so we kind of always thought at some point someone's going to do a video of, so mind you, there are quite a few videos of doing your tag.
Or
not
chasing
insane.
in some capacity.
But not an event kind of thing.
And I still think that as a sport, this will develop into a sport at some point in the future. Hopefully it will develop into a sport sooner rather than later while we're involved. But even if it happens not while we're involved, at a later date, at some point it's inevitable that this will happen, because it's such a natural way of playing and of testing agility, speed and strength. So it's... You want to start that one?
I think I'm kind of out of the loop with celebrities too much, but from sporting celebrities, I reckon, from like maybe for speed, you'd have to go for someone like Usain Bolt. He's got long reach, he might be good. A lot of my celebrities are MMA, UFC celebrities, but those are the only celebrities I know, kind of thing. But Demetrius Johnson would be good at Vader. Don't know who else.
We always had a funny thing that would be, like, we were thinking about like funny videos that we could make, and one really cool video would be to build quite a big course and to get someone like Demetrius Johnson is
the lightweight,
he's a small lightweight
or flyweight UFC champion.
But he's
tiny
really,
guy,
really fast.
but really fast.
And then we'd put him into the court, and then we'd introduce a sumo wrestler. Right? And then obviously the sumo wrestler wouldn't be able to catch him, so we'd introduce 2 sumo wrestlers, and we'd take a bet to see how many sumo wrestlers it would take to catch Demetrius Johnson. Yeah.
So when we have the money to do that, that's the first thing we're doing. Right, get the sumos out.
Along the way, I mean, we'll have a lot more obstacles that we have to overcome, and some of them are going to be difficult. Some of the things they're not things that you particularly want to do, but the obstacles, I mean, it depends what people call obstacles, because like when I first did the first meetups that we used to do with other people, there was a site called like Meetup, and you could just go onto that site and post whatever activity you wanted to have this meetup on. So we did the first few with chase tag, so we called it London Chase Tag, and we used to meet up. And the obstacles were that, like, are people going to show up, and are the right people going to show up, and that sort of thing. And you could sort of say that it was, I remember like one day in particular, it was absolutely pissing down with rain, but you set the time and you can't really change it. So, and it was on a Sunday, and I remember being with Lando in the park, and I was thinking, nobody is going to show up to this. It was literally pouring, and the ground was muddy and everything. And so the two of us were waiting there under the umbrella, and then 2 people showed up, and so we played, and we got absolutely saturated, and we couldn't run because we were sliding and slipping all over the place. And I guess you could call those sort of things obstacles, like, why are we doing this? But at the end of the day, once you make the effort to go out, you always sort of have fun in the end. So is it obstacle? Is it not? I guess the biggest obstacle to anything is probably just money. Being able to do it. Luckily, like, I was in a position, having worked, being a bit older, I'd sort of worked for 20 years in like hotels, so you have a little bit saved up that you can invest in. But in the future, the obstacle is going to be money. Like, I would like to get, we always say that the thing that we want to do most is see the best people chasing, right? So to enable us to get the best people chasing, we have to put on like the best events at the best venues, and that unfortunately costs money. So we're able to do it now, and whether we're able to continue doing it in the future depends on the partners that we have involved. And at the moment, we've been really lucky that we've had some really good partners. We have iPro Sport that do the rehydration drink. We have EQ Nutrition that do supplement. We've got Blockheads that do Blockhead Energy Gum, so it's like a caffeinated gum. And then recently we were approached by someone in LA who does like the best pair of moisture wicking underpants and socks. That the ones I was showing you a bit earlier. So we're really lucky that we have those people that are helping us to invest a little bit of money into the sport to enable us to rent the venues, transport the equipment around, and make new obstacles, that sort of thing.
But I think in the scheme of things, the bigger obstacles are to come. We've only crossed over like the first obstacle. There's many more to come that I think we've only just begun crossing obstacles. Do you know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things, we've maybe crossed over the small little hurdle at the beginning. And that's, there's many more to come.
So the next event is really exciting because we have, the main event is on 1st of July. It's at the York Hall in Bethnal Green. And we have 4 teams taking part. The first team is Morera Gang, who won the last event. The second team is Storm Freerun, probably the best parkour team in the world. The third team is a team from France called Blacklist, who have 4 amazing chasers, who are a little bit, not in this country, but in France they're very well known. And it includes, amongst others, a guy called Valentin, who won the French Ninja Warrior last year, or he's last man standing. And then the fourth team is going to be the team that wins the qualifier event. And the qualifying event takes place on the 3rd and 4th of June at Release the Movement, which is a movement expo in Swansea. And so the teams will conform and they can take part in the qualifying event. And then the winning team from that will be the 4th one to join us in the finals.
Hopefully, if everything goes on we've only done one event so far and we've got a lot of hits from it and we're very happy with how things are done. But what we'd really like to try and do, because it's a very global sport and a lot of people play all over the world, what we'd love to try and do is put on events in other countries in the world. A lot of our views have come from Taiwan and Hong Kong. We're going to be on a really popular Japanese TV program later this month or next month. And we're hoping that kind of builds up small communities where chase tag is popular in those places. And what we'd love to try and do is start putting on events around the world. And in 5 years' time, we'd love it if we could have maybe sort of between 5 and 10 annual events around the world, and have it like a kind of tour that we can travel around and put on events around the world.